Will on 531 PI.
It is 8:32. This is Pacific Mornings on 531 PI. Brilliant to have your company as always. William Teresi in the chair with you through until 9 a.m. this morning. Let's turn our attention now to charter schools, which has been well canvassed on this show, but this next talanoa is incredibly important and a conversation well worth having, I think. Now, a new Pacific-led charter school application has been put forward to the Charter School Agency. Now, Sisters United Academy aims to blend culture, creativity, leadership and AI-powered learning to equip Pasifika girls and young women for the future. Director Kendall Collins is here to tell us more. Very good morning to you. Thanks for your time.
Morning, William. Thank you for having me.
Hey, look, before we get into the nitty-gritty of this and what it's all about, I just wanted to get your opinion on the current state of play when it comes to our current education system.
Yeah, for me, William, I've worked in high schools for the last 18 years, and not being an educator, but someone that the school calls on to work with the students who are at risk of disengaging in school. So I'm kind of being in the background of the side of the ambulance at the bottom of the cliff. And I feel like we're doing that too late. We're preparing our kids too late, not building that right foundation. The kids don't want to be at school. They're not motivated. Their ambitions are low. And so our current school system, everybody knows that it does not fit everybody. And so this opportunity for charter schools is, for me, it's a dream. It's a dream opportunity for us to create something that fits our Pasifika children, the way that they learn, the way that they engage. You know, we're talking about tests and exams, but our kids, some of them are great at writing. Why can't we talanoa the answers? Why can't we provide this atmosphere or school culture where they feel seen, they feel valued, they feel like they belong? To me, it's not rocket science, William, and I think this is such an amazing opportunity for us to be innovative. And I think schools try and be innovative, but they don't have the flexibility. And I think that's the beauty of charter schools, that you can start fresh, you can do things a different way, you can help our kids learn and I think what's important is also personalized learning. You know, state schools try and do that, public schools try and do that, but it's hard. You know, they do try their best, but when you've got one teacher at the front and 30 kids in the classroom, it's impossible to meet them where they're at. So, I think this is such a cool opportunity, William. We need to jump on board. Why not? It's exciting.
Yeah, when you put it like that, it seems like a no-brainer, right? It begs the question, I mean, what sets what you've outlined different from, say, everyday school? And I suppose what I'm asking specifically is, I mean, the idea for Sisters United Academy.
I think just the flexibility that it gives us to really try new things. And, you know, in public schools, the teachers want to do so much more, but they can't. They're limited in what they can do. But that is, like I said, is the beauty of what Sisters United is trying to do. And we have superpowers at Sisters United, where we know that building their right foundation in our youth is the power of success and fulfilling their true potential. You know, we talk about, you know, in schools, they talk about academics. We concentrate on academics, we have to. But at the end of the day, if a kid does not know who they are, if they're not confident within themselves, they have low self-worth, they don't believe that they can dream big, they don't believe that they can achieve anything they see out on the media or on, you know, on TV, then what else can we do? You know, we can only do so much. So the beauty of Sisters United Academy is that we're able to bring in the power of culture, of our Pasifika culture, embed that into the school. It's not just an add-on. It's not just a polyphest group. It's just not a one language class that's an option. You know, at Sisters United Academy, your heritage language is compulsory to learn at the school. You know, when you walk in, the say is part of our uniform. You know, it's not, you're going to get in trouble if you're going to wear the say. You know, it's part of you, it's ingrained in it. You know, it's culturally grounded. You know, digital innovation is also important. So for us, you know, I'm a big believer in the power of digital tech and AI that's really coming forward. So even though we're calling this a Pasifika charter school, that is, yes, what we are grounded in and embedding into our school, but the AI powered learning is also our special character and the superpower of our school that's going to set us apart. And I truly believe that this is going to be the blueprint of education, the future education in New Zealand. And that's very bold of me to say, William, but schools are only dabbling into it. But I've done my research the last couple of years, and it's working overseas. So why can't we use that to help our Pasifika youth bridge that gap for their learning and for their success? And it's a no-brainer, like you said before. And also, well-being is so important, and that's my background. I'm a social worker by trade, and obviously, I get the kids that are disengaged or at risk or behavioural issues, and at Sisters United, we have the expertise. We know what works to re-engage them in education, to spark that fire in them in learning, to make them feel proud of themselves and know that they can contribute to the society and within their family. So we know what works, we know what can switch that around. And so it's just kind of about bringing all that goodness together, and that's what creates our model of Sisters United Academy.
Why was it important for you to create a school specifically for Pasifika girls?
I was once one of them, William. I went through that, and that's why I started Sisters United, because I struggled in high school, but I had the support. I had a supportive family. So when I think about our Pasifika girls who are struggling without, the extra support, especially the girls who kind of fly under the radar within the school system, that I'm really passionate about that, because you have the leaders and then you have the at-risk children that are always seen, always get the support, but then you've got another 70% of girls who fly under the radar and don't get that extra love and afi and support that they need. And so, that was really important for me, because I've been through it. I've worked with thousands of young women over the last 18 years, and I've seen it. I know it's needed. And so I'm really passionate about it. And I've seen it work within the programs that we do in school. And I feel like that needs to be the foundation in school, instead of an afterthought of, can you help us? Can you help us with these girls? It's too late, William, when they call us. So that's why I feel like we need to reverse that. And what we do at Sisters United needs to be the foundation of the school to start with, to bring in the joy, the motivation, to bring in that identity and passion for learning first, and then we can talk academics.
Yeah. Give me a bit of a sense in terms of what the daily structure would look like for this charter school in comparison to, say, a mainstream school.
Yeah, so in the mornings, it's called Motivation Mornings. So Motivation Morning would be like a 20-minute. And so it's stuff that we do with Sisters United. Our kids come to school, they're tired, they don't want to learn. So it's about kind of activating that brain, that momentum, that motivation. You start off with that 20-minute Motivation Mornings. And then there's two parts of the school. So you've got academic mornings, which is powered by teacher guides. You're supported by teacher guides, but powered by AI tutors and adaptive apps. And so the power of that is that our girls can learn faster at their own pace with customized AI tutor that understands how they learn, understands how fast they learn, how they adapt to the different teachings and the different subjects. They understand that for example, if a girl is great at English, she can move faster. She can also, she could be learning year 11 and year 10 if she wanted to. So the AI tutor makes sure that they master that learning before they move on. And within in public schools, you just have to learn with the class. If you miss that, you miss it. Unless you put your hand up and say, Miss, I don't know how to do that. But do our kids do that, William? They don't. I've got my own son in high school. He doesn't. He's too mad to put his hand up and say, I don't understand that. But then again, we're going to teach our girls to be confident and to be critical thinkers and to ask questions. And so, but not everybody has that beauty in high school to do that. So,
Let's touch.
And so that's the morning. Oh, sorry, William.
No, you
that's
carry
the
on.
morning. And in the afternoon, that's when they break out, and that's where entrepreneurship happens. That's where leadership happens. That's when group work happens. That's when the passions come to life. You want to be a dancer? Let's create a dance show. That's where I would say magical afternoons, William. That's where what you learn with your AI tutor, and you combine all of that through project-based learning, and that's where they have the fun. That's where the magic happens. They ignite that passion. So that's the morning AI academic tutoring. And then in the afternoon is project-based learning for passions and life skills. And also, William, what we've found in our work is that our girls are leaving high school with no life skills, no real world skills at all. And the way that the world is going is AI is going to be taking a lot of our jobs. And so about the school is about preparing them for whatever the future looks like, which won't be the same today. And so being here to whatever the new jobs will be like in the future, they'll be ready. They'll be ready to adapt. Yeah.
I just want to touch on the point you made there with AI tutoring. How would that work in practice? Is the technology and the capability there now to do it?
Yeah, so I'm currently working with some AI developers and already AI educators who are in the system at the moment, who are working with the ministry to implement little bits of AI, right? Not full implementation, but little bits of AI. And so there's already AI adaptive apps that are available that overseas are using that we will be bringing over. And we're going to be mixing that with our own creative, our own AI that's been developed, Tutor, along with adaptive apps that help them practice and learn at their own pace.
That's exciting. Okay. Let's get into the more culture and identity side of things. Now, I mean, of course, as mentioned, it's Pasifika-led. I mean, with that in mind, how does culture and identity fit into the daily structure?
Yeah, it's the simple things, William. It's the language. It's when you walk in, we're encouraging our girls to use their own, not just talafalava. If you're new way, you're going to be learning your language. If you're Skilauan, you're going to be using your language. And so majority of our schools only kind of offer Tongan and Samoan, and not at our school. We're going to be offering all of those languages to our girls so they feel proud of their own heritage and culture. Also within the curriculum, it's embedded in the curriculum. So their projects are about, their projects and their learning are about the stories and the history of our Pacific people. It's not, we're not going to go and learn about what the things that are happening overseas, which is still important, but they are going to be it'll be embedded into our curriculum, and they get to choose what they study and learn through their own research of their own culture and their own history. So it's not just about, the outside world. It's about them learning who they are in their culture first, and then that be grounded in that, and then let's talk about the other world outside of this. So, it's embedded in the culture of where they stand, the way they interact, talanoa, and the way that they are just standing proud of who they are, the way that they look. The uniform will have cultural patterns and Pacific patterns in it. So it's not just the learning; it's who they are daily. It's not just to add on, like I said before, Liam. They're gonna lose pride and culture. The way that they look at each other and talk, I can see it already. I imagine it, and I know it'll be magical. So yeah.
It does sound very exciting, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you want to be set up in 2026. Is that correct?
That's the dream. Yeah,
that's the dream.
Hope,
okay,
yes.
That's the hope. Yeah. With that in mind, I mean, look, that's the inevitable question. What needs to happen between now and then to ensure that this is ready to go in 2026?
Yeah, so within the first process of the application, we obviously had to have a building, for example. A building had to be chosen. It kind of had to be lined up. We have to have our board set up, so our school board, policies in place, curriculum kind of outlined, not developed, but outlined, and also the structure of the school. So that was just kind of in the base first application. And then the next process is we will find out if we're moving to the interviews in front of the charter board, which we'll probably find out this month or next. And then if we're successful, fingers crossed, we will know in August if we will be be approved, and then we have to be up and running by early next year, which is such a short turnaround. But we'll be ready. So I think more so the charter board want to see that we're ready to go, and that's why they were very, I guess in the first part of the application was very sponsor specific, so looking at our capabilities to be sustainable, no matter what happens with the government. Are we great Do we have a good financial structure? What about our board? So very sponsor focused, as well as our curriculum, how we run the school. But I think they really want to see, can we run it? And I think that's always been the issue in talks of charter schools and how charter schools are run, the profit, all that kind of stuff. So I think they're really knuckled down on those kind of queries and concerns to make sure that we're sustainable.
How do you ensure longevity? Because rightfully pointed out, it's dependent on government at the end of the day. In terms of the charter school system, we've already heard from the opposition, the likes of the Labour Party, who are leading in the polls at the moment, that should they get in at the election next year, the first thing to go will be charter schools.
Yeah.
How will you navigate that?
I don't take no for an answer, William. If you know me personally, I make it happen. I don't care how that will, how that would work. And I think it's just working also with the Labour government. And I know they were big on partnership schools, special charter schools. So whether if we have to convert to, whatever system that they choose, I know that is a possibility. But that also, that's a conversation we will have with the charter board when we get to that process, to make sure if we do go to the next step that what's the safety measures put in place for us as the new charter schools, are we safe? What are you going to do if the Labour government comes on board? So all these different conversations, but also sponsorship is huge for us. So I think we have a good pool of being one of the first AI powered high schools in New Zealand, and I'll be very proud that our Pacific girls would lead that. Instead of our girls being kind of chasing and our Pacific youth trying to chase up and catch up with the system, we'll be leading that. We'll be foot fronting it. So different avenues, but William, is going to work. I'll find a way.
No, I like your attitude. With all that in mind, what do you say? I mean, there's a very vocal group in this country, in fact globally, that reject the idea of charter schools. Personally, I don't quite understand it. I think there should be diversity. But there is that argument to be made that this is privatisation by stealth. What do you say to that?
Why not? It's, our kids, why don't we try something new? It's not working. It's not working for our kids. I do understand why they are hesitant about it, but for me, I don't think of that negative stuff. I'm so future focused. I'm so strength based and positive thinking. And I think, do you know what, William? I think it takes somebody to show them that it works. And I don't think there has been a really a successful charter school where people can be like, okay, charter schools work, let's do it. But let me tell you, it's going to work, William. And I hope that Sisters United Academy will be the one to show people, let's do it. Charter schools is the way. There's a new way, and our kids are succeeding. It's going to be our school of excellence, no matter what, no matter your background, what skills you come with, what academics you come with, you're going to succeed no matter what. So, William, I think it just takes somebody to show them it can be done. And I think that's the problem. So the Sisters United Academy will show that. And then hopefully people will be able to jump on board from there.
No, cool. I like your attitude on that. That's good. I mean, we often hear the naysayers with this when it comes to this space, so it's good to hear. With all of that in mind, I mean, and just one more criticism, and I hate to be the doom and gloom guy, but one other criticism that's made of charter schools is that the buildings that they're housed in are never quite fit for purpose. In fact, last year, that's all you heard from, say, teachers' unions, etc. In terms. So give us an idea of the building that would facilitate this. Yeah,
do you know what? I've actually had, I'm not going to say that's been the easiest, because do you know what? I've heard a lot of talk about, the profit, and when I look at the budget, William, there's not much profit being made if what budget I'm seeing. I don't know what other charter schools are seeing, but it's what I want for our school is not, our budget will not cover. And I do understand that's why there's been criticism in the fit for purpose for our schools. And I think that's where we have to be innovative. For me, I found a couple of spaces, and, it's about, it has been hard, let me tell you that, William. But for me, it's about trying to find something that can cater to something for now, but they can also transform into the future that we see and the numbers that will grow. And so obviously we have to make sure that the building that we choose has the room for growth. And, I think there's been talks about kids in the hallways and all that kind of stuff. But for me, it's just about making sure that the building that we choose has room for that, and for me, I don't know, it's hard for me, William, because I don't, nothing is impossible for me. It's not going to happen, and I'm always prepared. We always prepare for the future and the numbers and the growth. And we want spaces where girls can be creative, where girls can have their own individualized learning spaces, telenoa sessions. And so it's just making sure that building that we have can move around to kind of serve different purposes instead of just one classroom. And I think that's the beauty of our school, is that it's going to be such an open plan as fit out that it can adapt to different things within the school. So it has been a challenge though.
Yeah. Final question for you, and this one's quite a nitty-gritty one. In the sense of charter schools is core ACT party policy, right? So on one end, they're all for pursuing schools like this, which is great. But then on the other side of things, they're against things. For example, Treaty Principles Bill was pursued by the ACT party. They're not a fan of Pacific-specific places within universities. What do you make of that irony?
Well, it's very ironic. But you know what, William? I think we just have to take what opportunity we can get, William, and you always, I'm glad you're playing devil's advocate, but for me, it's like, why don't we take this opportunity? And, the beauty of it is that they're saying that, but also they're giving this opportunity for us to create something for our Pasifika kids. So why not take that? They can say what they say and we can fight that. We can voice our opinions, but at the end of the day, there's this opportunity that they're giving us. So for me, let's do it, We can both have our voices on both opinions, but if we don't take this opportunity because of what they say about the treaty principle, and also their views about the Pacific culture and the way that we operate, then we're just missing out, and other people are going to take this opportunity, so we have French, the other charter schools are French schools, which is crazy, classical schools, and those aren't going to fit our Pacifica kids and their learning. So for me, yes, I'll address that specifically and I'll share my voices about that. But with regards to charter school, I support that. I wholeheartedly support it and know that this is the opportunity that we need.
I'm not on the charter school board, but you've convinced me. I thank you very much for your time this morning.
William, sign us up.
That's right. That is Director Kendall Collins. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, William.
Cheers.
Have a good day.
You too.
Bye.
You're listening to